Reaching Mars: Accuracy and Rapidity in Real-Time Subtitling. Workshop led by Carlo Eugeni, University of Leeds, Wim Herbeeks, Velotype, Silvia Velardi, SSML, Julia Borchert, CDF Digital. Hi everybody, I'm Carlo Eugeni and I will lead this workshop together with my colleagues, friends and partners of the Erasmus Plus LTA project, Wim Herbeeks from the Netherlands, Silvia Velardi from Italy, and Julia Borchert from Germany. This workshop is composed of two parts, an informative part and a practical part, and will last around 2 hours, but this mainly depends on how you react to the exercises we propose you to do. In the informative part, each of us will introduce himself or herself, illustrate the process and products of his or her profession, and discuss the notion of quality in a specific sector: parliamentary subtitling, conference subtitling, personalized access, and TV subtitling. Finally, I will try to sum up the different views on quality by dealing with accuracy and delay in particular. We will be happy to answer questions about these topics in the dedicated chat. In the practical part, because of COVID, we cannot provide you with automatic speech recognition software programs and a Velotype keyboard as promised in the abstract. This means you need to use your input tool, be it a standard or chord keyboard or a voice writing software. Apologies for this. In particular, you will be asked to practically reach Mars, meaning your capacity to produce a text as quickly and accurately as possible. 2 tests taken from the World Championships of Fast Writing will be proposed. One text-to-text test in several languages, among which you will be hopefully able to choose your mother tongue, or the one you are more familiar with. And a speech-to-text test, also in several languages. You don't need here to be a world champion of fast writing to do these tests, because they are doable by everybody to a certain extent. Parliamentary subtitling. Hi again. First of all, a few words about myself. I am lecturer in audiovisual translation at the University of Leeds, UK, chairman of the scientific committee of Intersteno, and real-time parliamentary reporter at the Rome capital in Italy. Before saying what live parliamentary subtitling is, let's start by saying it is not reporting. Reporting is meant for letting the citizens know what politicians decide. A report is a post-production text which can or cannot be based on a real-time transcript or on live subtitles. It does not contain mistakes, and it is normally validated by the reporting office before it is published and looks like an asynchronous text file. Parliamentary subtitling is meant for deaf citizens or other people who cannot access the original audio directly to access the content of what speakers say in real time. It consists in a machine recording the session, letter A of the picture, while sign language interpreters interpret it in person, letter D. Then the ASR software transcribes the session speeches, letter B, and subtitlers either correct this automatically transcribed text or re-speak the speeches from scratch, letter C. The subtitles they generate are then sent to a dedicated webcasting station, which makes the output from the live subtitling team, that of the sign language interpreters, and the recording of the session. They create a unique file and send it to the Capital's YouTube channel. Here is an example.
Buongiorno e bentrovati. Saluto la sindaca di Roma, Virginia Raggi, saluto l'Assemblea Capitolina, che ringrazio, nel gruppo di maggioranza e nei gruppi di opposizione, per l'unanime e mutua collaborazione che c'è stata nell'organizzazione di questo straordinario evento, di cui sono fiero ed orgoglioso. Saluto la famiglia di Ennio Morricone, che ringrazio, l'avvocato Assumma, gli ospiti, congiunti, amici che sono presenti. Saluto e ringrazio l'orchestra dell'Accademia Nazionale Santa Cecilia. Saluto la stampa che ritorna quest'oggi in aula dopo qualche tempo che era mancata dall'aula Giulio Cesare. È un piacere di avervi. Volevo fare un ringraziamento particolare nei confronti della famiglia. Chiaramente in questi giorni abbiamo cercato di avere tutti quanti una dovuta e doverosa accortezza, ma c'è stato davvero un moto da parte di tutte le forze politiche, potrei dire, anzi assolutamente è stato così, unanime nel fare questo evento, e vi ringraziamo davvero di essere qui. È un piacere, un onore, evento che ci è sembrato un atto indispensabile e necessario.
Here is how parliamentary subtitling works at the Rome Capitol. First of all, the speaker speaks. The speech is then broadcast, and the speaker listens to the broadcast speech and simultaneously repeats or reformulates it orally. An ASR software processes the spoken words of the speaker and turns them into written words. A live editor monitors them, spots mistakes, decides if these mistakes are serious, and eventually corrects them. The subtitles are finally sent on air, and the audience can read them on the YouTube channel, as in the video you've just seen. For more information on how editing is done, you can watch my speech as scheduled in the Media for All program. Follow the two ways we work at the Rome Capitol. The first one is the most known one, with the live editor correcting the output of the speaker.
Che si dicano bugie, non è vero che non c'era un bilancio. Prima dell'amministrazione Raggi c'è stato un periodo buio, poi magari ce lo spiegheranno meglio i colleghi di centrodestra sotto Alemanno. Lì è vero, non c'era il bilancio. Noi l'abbiamo denunciato, tanto è che l'assessore Lemmetti qui presente potrà ridarci copia a tutti, maggioranza e opposizione, del bel grafico portato in aula dove si vedeva ogni anno quali erano i mesi di programmazione. Lo ricordo bene, sotto Alemanno non c'è stata programmazione da quando si è eletta.
This other one is a less well-known workflow, though it is the standard one used at the Rome Capitol, with the live editor correcting the output of the ASR software. In this context, the speaker assists the job of the live editor.
Che attese con toglierle per finire ferrovie plurale 1.400.000. Non ha
Concerning quality, the call for tenders of the Rome Capital expressly says that for live parliamentary subtitles to be of acceptable quality, accuracy should be higher than 95%, as determined by the application of the ERA model, a conceptual system that counts idea units as minimal translation units. These ideas units are then grouped into two main categories, in red in the table. Idea units whose meaning was not rendered in the subtitles because they were completely omitted or wrongly rendered by the subtitler or the machine, and idea units whose meaning was rendered in the subtitles because they were repeated verbatim or manipulated sensatim, that is, explained, reduced by means of compression or omission of some constituents, or syntactically simplified. If rendered units account for more than 95% of all idea units in the source text, then the subtitles are considered of good quality. Concerning delay, the call for tenders of the Rome Capital expressly says that for live parliamentary subtitles to be of acceptable quality, delay should be less than 6 seconds from step 3 of the process we have seen before, meaning the subtitling team receiving the source text, to step 7, that is, sending the subtitles to the webcasting station. References: Eugeni and Marchionne 2014, Beyond Computer Whispering, Intralingual and French into Italian TV Respeaking Compared, in Petillo, Reflecting on Audiovisual Translation in the Third Millennium, Perspectives and Approaches to a Complex Art, Bucharest, Institutul European. Eugeni 2017, la sottotitolazione intralinguistica automatica, valutare la qualità con IRA in Come 2, 1. 102, 111. To be found at comejournal.com. Conference subtitling.
Hello, my name is Wim Gerlux and I'm from the Netherlands. I am the manufacturer of the Velotype keyboard, which is a Dutch invention made by Marius den Outer and Nicolaas Berkemans already many years ago. In 1983 this keyboard came onto the market, and it is a chord keyboard which means you can type very quickly at the speed of speech. I have been using this keyboard and I've been a live subtitler for the Dutch television, working for the NOS, Talpa, SBS and RTL for more than 20 years. Besides that, I've also been a speech-to-text interpreter, working mainly for the deaf and hard of hearing people, but besides that in many different situations also making transcription and working in court for it, both on location and remotely. And I have been doing this work both in Dutch and English language. In the next video you will see a speech-to-text service at the event of the European Disability Forum. This was held in Brussels in November of 2019. Not only for the deaf and hard of hearing people this is a good service, but also for the non-native English speakers.
And I first wanted to give you all some practical information, I think. So firstly, we'll have simultaneous interpretation in English and French and international sign. We have live captioning as well, and we have tablets with translation available. So if you would like to use one of these tablets, you come to our technical team on the front row here, and they will give you something and show you how to use it.
What you saw in this video was the real-time speech-to-text service being done with the Velotype keyboard by myself. As you could see, there are multiple forms of accessibility. So besides seeing the text from the speech-to-text interpreter, there was also the sign language interpreter. Catherine Norton, who was presenting this meeting, was also explaining all the different accessibility possibilities. So what you could see was the text appearing on a big screen besides the speaker in the front of the room. So that's one of the possibilities to read the text. But also individuals could borrow a tablet and reading the text up close if they want to. Those are the individual tablets with the text on top. Besides that, they also have the possibility to choose a different language, and Google Translate automatically translate the text that I was typing into those languages. So this is very useful if you cannot understand at all what is being said in English in this case, and you can read it in your own language. Of course, Google Translate is not a perfect system, so it will never be as good as a simultaneous interpreter, but it's better than having nothing. At the same time, the subtitles can also be put on top of the PowerPoint presentation as subtitles. So then you can have the screen of the PowerPoint and the subtitles coming from text on top, all on the same screen. This, of course, has also many advantages. The process of this is that one person, in this case it is me, is typing on a Velotype keyboard. Of course, there are other systems that you can use for text input, such as the QWERTY or AZERTY keyboard, but also the Stenotype, the Palmtype keyboard, and more people are using the speech recognition and using it for re-speaking. In that case, they listen to the speakers, repeat what is being said, and the computer will recognize their voice. You do this by listening to the sound. It's best to use a headphone to listen to the voice, because then you don't have the additional sound coming from the surroundings. In case there is an interpreter in between, a simultaneous interpreter, you can also directly listen to them. On location, in this case you saw that we were using text on top device. This device sends the text from text interpreter wirelessly to another computer. So you can have multiple receivers, either a laptop or a tablet, receiving this text. In case of remote speech-to-text interpretation, there is a platform called Text on Tap. That way the users can read all the text through the browser where the text is being typed, or a specific overlay tool which they can place on top of any application on their computer. For television, we use specific software which is called Velotitle, which is developed for the Dutch market, and you can remotely do live subtitling with this software. The quality of the text is very depending on the circumstances, so you need to optimize the circumstances to get the best quality. This means, for example, using a headphone to get the sound correctly, but also to look at the PowerPoint to see the speakers up close so that you can better understand them. Be prepared, so ask beforehand which documents you would need for this event and go through them, read the names and all the acronyms that are being used during the meeting, so that way when they come up during the meeting you know how to spell them. At the same time, be very critical of your work during your work. That means that you try to type without any errors. Of course, this is not always easy, but this is something you have to train for to become better and better. Afterwards, you can always evaluate the session and go through your text, see if there are any mistakes there, or if you can improve it for the next time. You can always ask a colleague who is doing the same work to look at your work and see how you can improve it. The delay of the text usually is quite short in this situation, because you directly hear and you type. In case of re-speaking, the delay might be a little bit longer because the computer has to formulate the text. But you can improve the delay by staying focused, quite close to the speaker, and compressing text when necessary. If there are speakers who are very quick or difficult to understand, it's better to try to get the core of the text, the meaning of the text, and type that, so that you can stay quite close to what is being said. Concerning accuracy, when subtitling a conference, the aim is for the audience, mainly composed of deaf and hard of hearing people, to understand what the speaker says. Depending on the speaker, I normally adopt two types of approaches: verbatim and sensatum. Verbatim speech-to-text means that ideally 100% of the spoken word is written down. Depending on the situation, this can mean every sound, such as stuttering, repetition of words. Sensatum speech-to-text means that the message is most important, and that what the speaker says is modified to improve communication. Choosing between the two depends on cases. When creating a transcription is the aim of the speech-to-text job, then verbatim is required. In these cases, the meeting is audio recorded, so any words missed can be introduced later by comparing the transcript to the audio. When the text is shown live for an audience, however, then the aim, of course, is to produce as much text as possible of what was said. This means that I am for verbatim, but in many cases this is either not realistic or not relevant, or even decreases the quality of my text. When speakers are speaking very quickly, for example, it is a big challenge to write verbatim. At the same time, when the speed is very high, it will also be almost impossible for the audience to read at such speed. Leaving out repetition, stuttering, or descriptive words can still produce the same message the speaker meant to say, but it is imperative not to leave out any element of the main message. Analyzing the meeting can be done by measuring the speed. The speed is usually measured in characters per minute or words per minute. That way you get a good indication of how quick you can already type. And of course, counting the errors is essential. You should compare the original speak with the result to see what you are missing, either individual words which you wrote incorrectly, or missing parts which were being said. So from this you can learn and do it better next time.
Personalized access.
Hello, welcome to this video lecture on personalized access. I am Silvia Velardi. I am an Italian conference speaker, conference interpreter, and university teacher. I do teaching at La Statale University in Milan and Ulm University of Communication and Language in Milan. I also work for SSML, the School for Language Mediators in Pisa. Also, I do freelance personalized access for deaf and hard of hearing people in several and different contexts, such as school lessons, in order to guarantee inclusive and accessible higher education classes, private meeting, job interviews, and board of directors, and I do it real-time and remotely. I have divided this video lecture into 3 sections: the product of personalized access, the process of personalized access, and the quality activated in personalized access. Now, I will show you one video example of what I normally do in my job. It is an English grammar lesson for a high school class. You will hear the student reading the exercises, and the teacher checking and correcting any possible mistakes by the student. As you will see, the teacher sometimes alternates language, shifting from Italian to English and vice versa. You will also hear in the background the deaf student who recorded the video lesson, following the correction of the exercises, while taking notes of his notebook and writing down the solutions to the exercises. One more important aspect deserves attention here. I had to find a strategy to make the content as simple and accessible as possible for the deaf student in the shifting of the language by the teacher. As you may know, there are some open source transcription softwares, such as Textify, which allow you to shift from one language to the other quickly and fluently. However, they do not allow you to upload any preloaded words in the glossary. For this reason, my final choice was to use Dragon Speaking for producing Italian subtitles, since I am native Italian and it recognizes me very well, and then a simple keyboard typing mode for producing English subtitles, since English was uttered and spoken more slowly. Here is the video.
He said, I look forward, giusto? Che tutto sommato potrebbe anche andare bene, ma forse meglio mettere il present continuous. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Right? Ok. Va bene, allora, let's turn page. Aspettate che cambio pagina anch'io. Page 162. And here you have to do the exercises 3, 4, and 5. Giusto? Okay. Exercise number 3. Let's correct it, please.
This video is another example of personalized access, and this time it is a meeting among professionals, all working for the LTA, Live Text Access, project by Erasmus+. In this meeting, the hard of hearing partners follow the content thanks to the subtitles produced real-time.
Completely pre-run because we're going to set some deadlines, and these deadlines are deadlines. And what I mean by hard deadlines is there is no time left for moving these deadlines. We know how to do it. We have committed to deliver the materials in the next 6 months, more or less. And of course, you can organize this as you want. You can.
In this slide, I will explain how the process unfolds since the very beginning, meaning the call from the client. First of all, I ask for the material of the event in question. We then discuss about the mode of the event, if it will be in presence or not. Due to the COVID pandemic, it goes without saying that most of the events are held remotely online. Now, as for the first case, the English grammar lesson, since the teacher was already at the middle of the year in terms of program and contents, I asked the teacher to send me the material, namely the pages of the grammar and of the exercise book she would have used during the lesson, in order to upload it in the glossary with the new words. Then, on the day of the lesson, I got the online platform link by the client, asking to be assigned the subtitler role. I connected, together with the students and the teacher, and I did re-speaking for the whole English grammar lesson. One important point. At the very end of the lesson, the client has saved the subtitles file to be used as notes file for the deaf student. As for the second case, the professional meeting, the process unfolds in a similar way than the lesson, though the workload can be much more complicated in terms of content, above all for the speaker who doesn't know the terminology and the topic. Some terms, in fact, can be difficult to grasp since they derive from a terminology specific to the project or to the meeting in question. So, firstly, I ask for the material specific to the project. Secondly, we discuss about the modality of the event, and in this case, again, due to the COVID pandemic, all meetings are held online. Thirdly, I updated the glossary with the specific terminology. Then, on the day of the event, I got the online platform link by the client asking to be assigned the subtitler role. I connected together with the participants to the project and I did respeaking, so that the hard of hearing partners could follow the content thanks to the subtitles produced real time. In both cases, when doing respeaking remotely, I am always present and visible on the screen, even though with my video off, so in case of need I can quickly intervene, either in the chat or turning the microphone on. The interesting question is now how quality is assessed and achieved in personalized access events. In order to measure quality, we do not make any reference to the RER model, which considers the number of words in the respoken text, the number of edition errors caused by strategies applied by the respeaker, and the number of recognition errors usually caused by mispronunciations or errors with the speech recognition technology. We rather use a much more simple and basic method, which consists of asking straightforwardly a feedback to the student who asks me something in the private chat, for example. This way, the respeaker has a final and more direct feedback about how he or she is performing the job. Moreover, another challenging aspect finalized at achieving quality is to follow the multimodality of the original text, the source text, and how it unfolds. As you can see, the teacher has shared a textbook and the student is reading her homework. For the deaf student to be able and follow, I have to be as synchronous as possible with both the teacher asking the student to correct this or that exercise and with the student. In this case, given that she reads a sentence which is partially written in the book, I have to subtitle word for word both the prepared text of the exercise so that the deaf student can easily find the sentence his classmate is reading and his mate's guess. I cannot correct her if she makes a mistake. The reason is that the teacher may correct her afterwards. If I correct her output before the teacher does so, then the teacher's correction may sound inconsistent. Given that I received the text beforehand, I could easily anticipate the student's answer so that the text is even more synchronous, but I cannot do this, otherwise this may facilitate the student's cheating. I can manipulate the text only when the teacher explains rules or when she asks somebody to do something, so as to meet the final goal of personalized access, meaning allowing the deaf student to interact with the rest of the class like all other classmates.
Okay. Exercise number 3. Let's correct it, please.
What would Joe and Sam have done if they had had all that money?
Ok, you wrote have had. Let's see, vediamo, perché c'è la scelta dei verbi.
We would have played tennis with you if we remembered our values.
Ok.
If I heard the teacher was leaving, I would have bought her some flowers.
Ok.
James wouldn't have felt hungry if he hadn't lost breakfast.
References: Romero, Fresco, and Martinez 2015. Accuracy Rate in Live Subtitling, the NER Model, in Diaz Cintas and Baños Pinheiro, Audiovisual Translation in a Global Context, Mapping a Never-Changing Landscape, London, Palgrave 2850. TV subtitling.
Hello, my name is Julia Borchert. I am working for ZDF Digital in Mainz in Germany. I am working there since 2013 and I started as student's help, and now I'm an accessibility editor for subtitles, audio description, sign language and plain language. For about 4 years I worked as a real-time intralingual subtitler, or a respeaker like we name it. ZDF Digital is a subsidiary of ZDF, translated the second German television. It's like the name says, the second public national television program in Germany. ZDF Digital as a subsidiary is not fee financed, and we are a private limited company. ZDF Digital was founded in the year 2000, and meanwhile we have about 250 employees. Among other things like film and TV productions, motion design, websites, apps, and much more, ZDF Digital is producing subtitles, timecode subtitles for TV and also for video on demand providers. And of course, we are producing live subs. We produce live subtitles first and foremost for the news. Because of the actuality, it is not possible to prepare subs previously, and most of the news are broadcasted live, so it's simply necessary to subtitle them live. Furthermore, we are subtitling different kinds of shows, magazines, sport events like winter sports competition, Olympic Games and soccer cups. Sorry. And of course, also special broadcasts when something unaccepted happens, like terror attacks or other incidents. Because especially in those situations, it is very important to reach everybody with information. In the past years, we are producing continuously more. This year, we are about 200,000 live subtitled minutes. Here you can see the workflow for TV live subtitles. At first, we are checking the schedule of a show and ask the editors about scripts and moderation texts. These scripts must be typeset. That means the text is adapted or adjusted to the subtitle guidelines. We are using a software called FAB. And when the videos are available before, the text can be adjusted. Then the speech recognition software has to be trained with vocabulary. We are working with a software called Dragon. And finally, when the show starts, everything prepared is transmitted semi-live. That means that one person is sending out the subtitle simultaneously to the audio. And the missing content has to be produced with respeaking. By the way, our subtitles can be accessed via teletext. Like you can imagine, it's not really easy to work as a respeaker because it's necessary to have the ability for multitasking. You need to listen to the speaker, repeat it, in some cases sum it up, maybe correct it by hand and send it out while you continue to listen. We are trying to make the subtitles word by word, exactly like the speaker. but when she or he is talking too fast, we need to sum it up. Also, when someone is losing the plot or the way of speaking is not correct. For example, due to the speaker is not really familiar with the language or is using a wrong syntax. For us, the first priority is that the user can follow, and so we try to convey the meaning. But in the end, it also depends on the client. Every client has different subtitle guidelines. To give a better glimpse, I've got a video for you. Here you can see me in action. Maybe also interesting for everybody who has no experience in respeaking is, like you can see it in the video, that also punctuation has to be submitted to the software. So enjoy watching.
Was Sie konsumieren und wie Ihr Grundumsatz ist. Indem man die Probleme vereinfachen kann, löst man sie in der Regel.
Was ich werden wollte, als ich klein war? Definitiv nicht das, was ich gerade mache. Klar, Traumjobs wie Tierärztin oder Astronaut, aber ganz ehrlich, man will doch nur einen Job, der Spaß macht. Mit netten Kollegen und definitiv keinen langweiligen Bürojob.
Eine schöne Runde, Punkt. Es gibt viel zu besprechen, Punkt. Nur für das Protokoll, Punkt. Theresa May hat gestern eine neue Option für den Brexit vorgestellt, Punkt. Ich war entsetzt, Punkt. Erstens über die inhaltslose Substanzlosigkeit.
Ich wollte einen Job, der mich fordert. Und ja, der verändert vielleicht nicht die Welt. Aber ich bringe anderen die Welt etwas näher.
Yes, this was a short inside view how we work. And at the moment, this work are doing 4 professionals, permanently employed respeakers, and about 15 temporary employees who are subtitling. Every shift is assigned to permanent teams. They consist of 1 respeaker and 1 or 2 subtitlers, or for talk shows also of 2 respeakers. We are working 7 days a week from the morning till the night, and the inquiries increase. That's because the importance of accessibility is increasing. Subtitles enable hearing impaired and deaf people to access media, and they also support all those learning a language. And of course, subtitles are useful wherever it is better to watch without sound, for example, in public transport. That's why we are live on air every day and are involved with European partners in the LTA project to train professionals. At the end, a few words concerning the quality and the delay of our live subtitles. We receive the transmitting signal in real time from the broadcast center. Through the subtitling, a delay occurs of about 6 to 7 seconds, and this is unavoidable. But the comprehension is guaranteed, and our respeakers are working as fast as possible, while the accuracy remains constantly good. In regular intervals, we are checking the accuracy and quality by means of the NER model. That's all from my side. Thank you very much for your attention.
To sum up. Hi again. I hope you are okay at this stage. After this overview, I think we have covered quite a lot of aspects of real-time intralingual subtitling. We have seen two different types of fast writing techniques, respeaking or voice writing, and velotype, whose use does not seem to influence the final result. We have also seen four different settings: parliamentary subtitling, conference subtitling, personalized access, and TV subtitling. For each of these topics, we have seen what quality means. Concerning accuracy, almost all of us have said that we aim for verbatim or word-for-word rendition of the speech to produce a faithful rendition of the speech. Silvia mentioned an interesting aspect, the importance of sticking to the student's wording even when he or she makes mistakes, so as to produce subtitles coherent with possible corrections by the teacher. However, there are several situations, like the speaker speaking too quickly, where verbatim rendition of the speech is not possible or even harmful to the reader, and we go for sensatim or meaning for meaning rendition of the speech. In some rarer cases, let me add that we also have to render the source text literatim, meaning that we have to render sounds, but also signatim, because we have maybe to render paraverbal or non-verbal aspects, like somebody uploading or something happening that would be otherwise not possible for the deaf audience to understand that this something is really happening. Concerning delay, we normally all aim at 6 seconds maximum, though it may be shorter when broadcasting is not an issue, as in conference subtitling or personalized access. All in all, it changes depending on situations. On TV, Julia told us delay should be as short as possible because speech turns are very quick and the multimodality of a given program, especially short changes, may make it problematic for the audience to identify the speaker. In the case of personalized access, the notion of multimodality keeps being a problem because speakers may refer to text on screen with which it is important to be as synchronous as possible. Silvia, however, mentioned the possibility to anticipate text, which is to be avoided because this may facilitate students cheating. In conference and parliamentary subtitling, both Wim and I agree that it should be kept to a minimum, but also that turns are normally long and speaker identification it is not an issue if memory assists us. As for quality assurance, it depends on settings. We have seen that the NER model is used at ZDF Digital, IRA at the Rome Capitol, and personalized feedback by the audience in the case of personalized access, and by peers or the subtitler himself or herself in the case of conference subtitling. Practical part. Now I hope you are well and ready for the second part of the workshop. In this second part, you will be asked to reach Mars, starting from two types of tests taken from the World Championships of Fast Writing, a text-to-text test in several languages, among which you will be hopefully able to choose your mother tongue or the one you are more familiar with, and a speech-to-text test, also in several languages. You don't need to be a world champion or fast writing to do these tests because they are doable by everybody to a certain extent. While the introduction to Mars is quite straightforward, the two tests are to be run at your ease. You can take all the time you need to do them. This is at least one positive aspect of online workshops. Once you are told what to do, you can take your time to do it instead of doing it. Everything in a rush. Now I would like you to reach Mars. And as you can imagine, this is just a pun. Mars is indeed not the planet Mars, but the acronym for Most Accurate and Rapid Speech-to-Text Rate. It can be counted in words per minute in a given country, or in syllables or characters per minute when comparisons are to be made between more languages. In short, Mars is the number of words or syllables or characters per minute that a real-time subtitler can produce while keeping an accuracy rate of 95–98% or higher, depending on the quality assurance measurement tool used and on situations. Every fast writing professional has to know what his or her Mars is. To do so, as the LTA project, we are developing a software that will allow to measure one's Mars, and this will be part of the certification test we will propose on completion of our project. Visit the ltaproject.eu website regularly. We will inform you about related events. For the moment being, I would like you to do 2 tests that we suggest at the LTA project to understand how quickly and accurately one can write, starting from a written text and from a spoken text, respectively. These tests are taken from the biannual Intersteno World Championship of Fast Writing. Intersteno is the International Federation for Information and Communication Processing. It is a supporting partner of the LTA project, and it is the world community of teachers, researchers, and professionals of fast writing. From real-time subtitlers for TV and conferences to court and parliamentary reporters, as well as secretaries. All techniques are represented, from shorthand to touch typing to any type of code, keyboard typing to re-speaking or voice writing. Every 2 years, Intersteno organizes the Congress, during which the World Championships of Fast Writing are organized. Several types of competitions are organized, and today I would like you to get familiar with 2 of them, which are always available for you to test your Mars. The Internet Contest, which is a text-to-text competition, and the Speech Capturing, which is a speech-to-text contest. The Intersteno Internet Contest is a yearly competition that consists in copying a text for 10 minutes in up to 17 languages. If you are ready to start doing the test, go to the Intersteno website at www.intersteno.org and select Competitions from the top menu, as you can see from the slide. Then select Intersteno Contest, and finally Training with Taki version. You will be redirected to the Taki web page. Here you can select your language and then the kind of test. You can choose between 1 minute and 10 minutes. I suggest you to do the 1 minute training first to see how it looks like and get familiar with the software. Those of you who are professional speech-to-text writers can then go for the 10-minute training. Those who only want to see how it looks like, you can stop after the 1 minute training. The software will automatically start a countdown timer. You don't need to click anywhere, the cursor is already there. After the counter, you need to immediately start copying every single word, space and punctuation mark. The software scrolls the text that you have to copy at your speed. After the selected time, 1 minute or 10 minutes, the software will automatically stop you from further writing and will tell you how many characters you managed to produce in the selected time and what your accuracy rate is. It even tells you the kind of mistakes you did. if you note them down and compare them with your workshop mates, you will be able to share your experience and see what the others have done. Of course, this is not a competition. Before doing the test, you can pause this video. You can do it now, as the next slide is related to the second exercise I would like you to do. Good luck. How did it go? I hope you enjoyed this test that you can do for free whenever you want, and maybe you are interested in attending the upcoming Intersteno Internet contest. Just for your reference, the world record in this competition belongs to Carlo Parisi from Italy, who managed to write 969.5 characters per minute for 10 minutes in 2014 in his native language. In 2019, in the multilingual, Takayuki Nakayama from Japan managed to write in 17 languages with the highest score ever, 85,613 points. In the 16-language contest, the record belongs to Daniel Chen from the USA, who scored more than 81,000 points in 2009, while in the 15 languages, Sean Rona, also from the US, managed to do 83,490 points. Now I would ask you to do a second test, which is the one that will be integrated in the certification that we are designing within the LTA project with the previous test. So now I'd like you to go back to the Intersteno website home at www.intersteno.org, select competitions from the top menu, then select competition texts and one of the edition as in the picture, so 2019, 2017, etc. Now scroll down until speech capturing. Speech capturing is a 15-minute text dictated at an increasing speed. It starts very slowly. Every minute the dictation speed increases. The last minute is super high. The aim of the test is to transcribe every single word you hear without pausing the audio. Once you realize you can no longer do it, you can stop and start self-assessment. For this, you have the competition text, which shows the correct transcription of the competition dictation, which you can compare to your transcript, and it is here in the same page where you find the dictation. If you don't find your language, you can select another edition from the previous submenu, as some languages are not always represented in the world competitions. You can pause the recording now, as the next slide concerns self-assessment. It was tough, wasn't it? To see how it went, in the competition submenu, you can find the regulations for counting mistakes. Check the speech capturing. In the rules, you will see that the last correct minute you manage to dictate with the maximum of errors allowed by the regulations themselves, that is your marks. My compliments. Now share your result with your workshop mates and share your impressions on how you would like this to be implemented in the software we are developing. We will take your opinion into account so as to create a tool as customized as possible. It will be available online for free usage. I forgot to mention something, that the World Championship of Speech Capturing belongs to Miloš Matula from Czechoslovakia. In 1961, he managed to write up to 515 syllables when the competition lasted 10 minutes only with manual shorthand. So if you thought that technology was the best speech-to-text recording tool, I'm afraid to disappoint you. Manual shorthand is still today the best speech-to-text recording tool, as Josip Haniš from Croatia managed to capture up to 497 syllables in 2013 with the new competition lasting for 15 minutes. He shares the world record with Armando Covello from Italy, who scored the same in 2003 with re-speaking. Always in 2003, Javier Núñez Hidalgo from Spain managed to do 480 syllables with a Spanish chord keyboard. Thanks for attending this workshop. I hope you enjoyed. It was a real pleasure to meet you. Should you have any questions about the exercises, don't hesitate and ask in the dedicated space in the conference webpage. For future references, please find below our email addresses. Ciao.
Grazie a tutti per l'attenzione.
Vielen Dank für Ihre Aufmerksamkeit.
Bedankt voor uw deelname aan de Media for All workshop. Ik hoop dat u er iets van opgestoken heeft en dat het interessant was. Als u toch nog vragen mocht hebben over Velotype of over het LTA-project, kunt u me altijd bereiken. Tot ziens vanuit Eindhoven in Nederland. LTA, Live Text Access. Universitat Autónoma de Barcelona. SDI, Internationale Hochschule. Scuola Superiore per Mediatori Linguistici. ZDF Digital. European Federation of Hard of Hearing People FHO. Velotype. Sub-T Access. European Certification and Qualification Association ECQA. Co-funded by the Erasmus Plus program of the European Union. Erasmus Plus project 2018-1-DE01-KA203-004218. The information and views set on this presentation are those of the authors and do not necessarily reflect the official opinion of the European Union. Neither the European Union institutions and bodies, nor any person acting on their behalf, may be held responsible for the use which may be made of the information contained here.